tale of the Mutant Chronicles begins in a grim future, but its roots stretch back more than 8 centuries. At the end of the Ice Age, a terrible object called the Machine descends from the blackness of space. At first glance, it appears to be an advanced piece of technology, but its true purpose is horrifying. The Machine's design is to twist men into an army of monstrous, mindless creatures known as mutants. These abominations are not simple drones. They are living extensions of the Machine itself, equipped with brutal strength, sword-like blades jutting from their arms, and a hunger that drives them to destroy everything in their path. After endless suffering and countless deaths, a warrior named Extinction sees the depth of the Machine's evil. He rallies the ancient tribes of mankind, uniting them for one desperate stand. With unmatched courage, they battle against the endless tide of mutants. In a massive, world-shaking fight, they push the mutants back and, through great sacrifice, seal both the Machine and its children deep within the Earth's core. In the centuries that follow, only the Brotherhood, descendants of Extinction, preserve the truth. Hidden in the mountains of Eastern Europe, they guard the knowledge of the Machine, passing it down through stories, myths, and the sacred book called the Chronicles. They protect both the book and the secret location of the Machine, hoping humanity never repeats its past mistake. But in the year 2707, the world has forgotten. Nations no longer exist. Power belongs to 4 enormous corporations. Bauhaus and Imperial dominate Africa and Europe. Capital controls the West, and Mishima holds the East. Locked in endless war, these corporations fight each other over the planet's few remaining resources. On the soaked, muddy plains of Europe, Bauhaus prepares another assault against the capital lines. But lying between them, waiting to be disturbed, is the Machine itself.
Good enough, lads. Put a smile on it. Incoming!
Inside a Capitol dugout, Captain Nathan "Nate" Rooker checks on his exhausted men. Their faces are pale with dread, worn down as the Bauhaus enemy pushes harder each hour. Across the no man's land, Lieutenant Maximilian von Steiner commands Bauhaus troops, shouting orders to storm the Capitol positions. In the chaos, Nate meets his closest friend, Sergeant Mitch Hunter, who has just returned from a bloody patrol. Grim and practical, Mitch carries the dog tags of fallen comrades, cold proof of how much ground Bauhaus has stolen. His report is blunt. The Capitol side is steadily losing.
We left them bogged down in the wire. They called in our position, ran 8As right up our ass.
Amid the booming guns, the men share a few tired words. Corporal Jesus de Barrera, sharp-tongued and sarcastic, joins in, his humor cutting through the thick tension. Their talk turns to belief, sin, and what waits after death. De Barrera mocks Mitch, saying his soul is bound for hell, while Nate accuses him of caring about nothing. Mitch only shrugs. He admits plainly that he fights for money and chaos, not for faith or ideals.
They pay you to fuck shit up.
The Bauhaus assault soon begins. Nate steadies his men as Capitol rifles flare, spitting fire into the mud. Bauhaus responds with grenades and choking gas, pouring into the trenches and smashing Capitol lines. In the brutal hand-to-hand fighting that follows, Mitch saves Nate's life, and Nate repays the act by dragging Mitch out of death's reach.
For a second, I thought you were gonna shoot me.
For a second, I was.
Can I just buy a drink?
When the battle eases for a moment, Nate asks Mitch for a favor. If Nate dies, he wants Mitch to watch over his family. Mitch jokes it off. He avoids promises, but his unease is clear. The ground shakes harder as bombardments intensify. Then, with a bone-shattering blast, the ancient seal buried deep beneath them shatters. The seal placed by the Brotherhood centuries ago is broken. From the pit, the mutants surge out, grotesque monsters with sword arms tearing through soldiers with horrifying speed. They strike silently at first, so sudden that men barely notice before they are ripped apart. The creatures show no loyalty, killing everyone, Capitol and Bauhaus alike. Bauhaus troops stumble upon heaps of shredded bodies and assume Capitol is responsible. But the truth quickly becomes clear as more mutants rise from the pit, storming both sides with unstoppable fury. Capitol soldiers in their trenches watch in terror as broken corpses tumble into their lines. Panic spreads like wildfire. Mitch and his squad move through a smoke-filled wasteland, shapes flickering between explosions. Out of the haze comes Maximilian, enraged and convinced Capitol is butchering his men. He and Mitch collide in a savage brawl that erupts into a knife fight.
Yeah. Whoa, wait!
Soldiers rush in to break them apart, but then the real enemy arrives. Mutants descend upon both sides with merciless slaughter. In the chaos, de Barrera is badly wounded. Mitch drags him toward the rescue ship, stumbling under the weight. As they near safety, Mitch looks back and sees Nate surrounded, fighting desperately against endless mutants. Nate's machine gun clicks empty, forcing him to battle with only his knife. Mitch's heart tears as he struggles to reach him, wanting to pull him to safety. On the rescue ship, the pilot asks if Mitch and de Barrera are the only survivors and prepares for takeoff. De Barrera shouts that no one else made it. The ship rises, leaving Mitch screaming Nate's name. Nate, seeing his friend's grief, yells for him to go. He knows his fate is sealed. As the ship carries Mitch away, Nate vanishes beneath the swarm of blades. Far to the north, news of the broken seal reaches a monastery buried in snow. The ancient brotherhood, descendants of Extinction and guardians of prophecy, open a sacred chamber. Brother Samuel, the elder monk, and Severian, a silent sister under vow, reveal the chronicles and holy swords. Samuel reads aloud, warning his brothers that history is repeating itself. He reminds them of the first dawn, a battle in heaven. The enemy was cast down, shattered but proud, filled with envy and hate. He built a machine that stripped souls from the dying, replacing them with his dark essence. Nietzsche gathered the tribes, defeated the enemy, and sealed the machine. But now war has broken the seal and awoken it once more.
Dragged every body to the pit where the Great Seal once lay.
Deep within the earth, the machine stirs. Its gears turn again, twisting the dead and dying into the enemy's soldiers. Not even the power of the 4 corporations can stop the spreading corruption. Mutation follows mutation. Yet Samuel points to the Chronicles' message of hope. It speaks of a savior who will follow Nietzsche's path, descend into hell itself, and deliver mankind from destruction. Samuel explains that he has already approached the corporations, urging them to act on the prophecy and strike at the enemy. 6 weeks pass, and the mutants multiply without end, devouring armies and collapsing defenses. Cities fall one after another. At a desperate council, Samuel meets with Constantine, a dying corporate leader, and envoys from Mishima, Bauhaus, Imperial, and Capital. The corporations argue for evacuation, moving key leaders to off-world colonies to regroup later. Samuel knows this plan means abandoning Earth.
Do you think you'll leave behind? And do you think that the enemy will stop with this world?
He warns that the enemy will follow regardless of evacuation. The only chance is the path of hope. When Constantine asks what he seeks, Samuel pleads for 20 men in a ship to strike directly at the machine, the root of mankind's destruction. Hearing Samuel's plea, the corporate ambassadors scoff. Their thoughts are fixed only on evacuation ships bound for Mars, which they see as their salvation, leaving Earth behind to burn. Down below, desperate civilians surge toward an evacuation ship, but chaos and explosions erupt around them, turning hope into terror. Later, in private, Constantine reveals the truth. His body is failing, and he knows he won't live long enough to escape the planet.
They're going to die, brother. A few of us know it. I find hope is the only investment worthy of my attention.
With what strength he has left, Constantine grants Samuel what he asked for, a ship and a handful of evacuation tickets for the warriors Samuel will gather. As Samuel turns to leave, Constantine asks one last question. Whether Samuel is truly the deliverer spoken of in prophecy, Samuel answers gravely, telling him to pray that he is, or else Earth is lost. Soon after Samuel departs, mutants breach Constantine's compound. Facing the end with grim acceptance, Constantine meets his death. Meanwhile, Mitch carries the heavy burden of visiting Nate's family. He tells Nate's wife that her husband is missing. Her grief is crushing, worsened by the cruel fact that they hold no evacuation tickets and must remain on Earth. Mitch tries to console her, but his words offer little comfort.
Think like that, you're gonna drive so crazy. You got Grace to think about.
Later, guilt and sorrow drown Mitch in drink. In a dimly lit bar, Brother Samuel approaches him, guided there by de Barrera's suggestion. After a tense conversation, Samuel offers Mitch a place on a mission to save the world. Bitter and broken, Mitch spits back that he no longer cares. His belief in both cause and future rotted away. Yet Samuel leaves evacuation tickets in his hand before walking out. The next day, despair pushes Nate's widow to the edge. She prepares a deadly drink for herself and her young daughter, ready to end their suffering rather than face the hopelessness of being left behind. But before she can go through with it, the evacuation tickets arrive at her door. Mitch has delivered them. For the first time since Nate's disappearance, hope flickers in her eyes. Meanwhile, at the Brotherhood's monastery, Samuel's recruits gather. Mitch joins them and meets his companions. John McGuire, a principled Imperial captain who refused his own ticket. Valerie Duval, a seasoned Mishima corporal, mother of 2, with 61 kills behind her. Juba Kim Woo, another Mishima corporal who stares death in the face with a fearless grin. Maximilian von Steiner, the same Bauhaus officer who once fought Mitch in the smoke. Jesus de Barrera, scarred yet unbroken. Another brother explains their grim task: to locate the machine and destroy it with a strange device forged from the machine itself. This relic was pulled from it during the Brotherhood's first great battle before the seal was placed. Ancient as Nichdoin, it is inscribed with ominous symbols believed to be warnings. The device is 2-stage. The trigger, carried separately, must be inserted and turned with a key they do not yet have.
It looks like this, and it should be in the machine.
When asked what happens if they fail to find the machine, the brother says simply, the mission fails and humanity perishes. De Barrera asks why they can't just toss the bomb into the pit. It is explained that the machine has survived 10,000 years of quakes, pressure, and shifting Earth. It will not be destroyed so easily. The device must be placed directly onto the machine itself. To harden their resolve, Maximilian unveils a captured mutant. He explains how the creatures feel no pain and can only be destroyed by explosives, heavy fire, or the Brotherhood's sacred swords. Suddenly, the beast snaps its chains and lunges wildly, nearly killing Valerie. At the last moment, Severian intervenes, cutting it down with her twin blades. As the creature dies, Mitch leans close and hears a faint whisper for help. Could some fragment of humanity still remain inside? He questions Brother Samuel, but Samuel offers no clear answer. Each warrior receives sacraments and a sacred sword. With solemn purpose, they board a military shuttle bound for the ruined imperial city of Canaan, where the machine waits. The shuttle rises smoothly, and the crew settles in, beginning to bond. They share stories of whom they gave their tickets to, showing their selflessness and bravery. But their peace is short-lived. Mid-flight, a mutant-operated airship rams into their vessel. The shuttle lurches, spiraling out of control. The team rushes to the escape pod.
Get to the escape pod! Go, quick! Come on! Let's move!
The crew scrambles inside the pod as fire tears through the shuttle above. But when they pull the release, nothing happens. Mitch insists he can fix it manually and prepares to climb out. Just as he is about to, Captain McGuire, on the verge of death, locks eyes with him and pulls the lever himself. The pod drops through the clouds. Moments later, the crew deploys their parachute to slow the fall, but the main chute rips apart. They plummet, crashing through clouds and even smashing through the side of a building before the emergency chute finally opens. Their landing is brutal. Captain McGuire lies shattered, bones broken beyond repair. Knowing he cannot go on, he requests a clip of ammunition. With steady hands, he salutes his comrades and detonates himself, denying the mutants another victim. The team presses forward, carrying the weight of his sacrifice. The ruins of Canaan stretch before them, a city buckling under mutant siege. Moving cautiously, they weave through wreckage. On the streets, they see civilians desperate for a place on a departing evacuation ship. 2 guards, drunk with power, bar their way, mocking and striking down the helpless.
By shining my crap all the way to Mars.
Unless you want to buy a nut.
That's who you are. Give me that.
Life I'm talking about.
Give me that.
Mitch can't bear it. Against warnings, he steps from the shadows, raises his weapon, and shoots one of the corrupt guards dead. The second, terrified, doesn't interfere. The civilians seize the chance and rush the ship. Night sinks heavy over the broken world as Samuel's chosen warriors push deeper into enemy ground. Their path takes them to the remains of a church, now nothing more than cracked stone and shadow. Inside, they descend into damp catacombs, endless passageways beneath forgotten centuries. These tunnels lead to the entrance of the City of the Ancients, a place long spoken of only in whispers. Now it lies in ruin, a corpse of a city swallowed by war and time. The team enters a skeletal skyscraper, its steel frame looming in the dark. Inside, they discover an elevator shaft stretching 60 dizzying stories down. Their destination lies far below. They secure ropes and begin their descent into the abyss, one by one. Juba Kim Woo, fearless as ever, stays at the top to stand guard.
Take care of yourself, Juba.
60 stories.
This is the break. Controls how fast you go down, okay?
The group rappels downward, but halfway their ropes run out. The shaft is deeper than expected. The Chronicles promised a hidden ledge here, yet Brother Samuel cannot find it. Fear rattles him. His grip slips and he falls, only for Mitch to catch him midair.
Don't let me fall.
Brother, I'm trying!
But the chain linking them snaps. Samuel plunges, and by a twist of fate, lands on the very ledge he had been searching for. Relief barely sets in before a mutant bursts from the shadows.
God provides.
Its blade arm slashes down, forcing Samuel into a desperate fight. Mitch cuts free and drops to the ledge, battling at his side. Their struggle shakes the shaft. Above, the others watch in alarm. Maximilian decides to intervene, pulling the pin on a grenade. But before it detonates, Mitch and Samuel manage to slay the mutant themselves. Severian moves with sharp precision, catching the falling grenade in midair. Without breaking her sacred vow of silence, she hurls it far below. The explosion shakes the tower, its roar rolling through the structure like thunder, and with it comes a fresh wave of terror. The blast draws out a swarm of mutants rising from the depths. Juba is the first to meet them. Standing alone at the top, he swings his weapon with fierce delight, cutting down the creatures climbing toward him. Below, the rest of the team braces as the mutants pour in like a flood. Suddenly, another explosion rattles the shaft, and the weakened elevator hanging overhead breaks loose. Juba, still locked in the frenzy of battle, is inside as it plunges. The falling wreck slams into the mutants swarming the team, crushing them beneath twisted metal. For one breath, silence follows. Then the creatures, impossibly resilient, begin to stir again. From the mangled heap, a single hand thrusts upward. It is Juba's. With a final grin, he pulls a grenade and lets it fall. The blast consumes him and every mutant around, ending his fight by his own choice. The team gathers in sorrow, mourning the warrior who met death as a companion. Their grief is cut short when they realize the shaft has collapsed around them. The way forward is buried. Trapped, thirsty, and shaken, despair begins to take hold. Brother Samuel speaks of faith, urging them to trust in providence. He empties his water bottle, and to their astonishment, the trickle seeps into cracks, revealing a hidden stream. They follow it, and the water guides them through an underground passage deep into the bowels of the earth once again. The tunnel opens onto a ledge overlooking a ghastly sight. Below, countless mutants herd human captives, dragging them screaming into the machine, the ancient engine that spawns new horrors. Among the doomed prisoners, Mitch spots a familiar face. Nate Rooker, battered but alive, struggling uselessly against his captors. The others insist the mission must come first, but Mitch's loyalty outweighs orders. Against their warnings, he leaps down and hacks apart the mutant dragging Nate. He hauls Nate to safety, quickly checking if he is still breathing. Exhausted, Mitch tells him that his wife and daughter already hold evacuation tickets bound for Mars. Relief flickers in Nate's dimming eyes, but his body is failing. Mitch tries to make a sling, but Nate stops him. He knows the end is close. Sitting together among ruin, Nate struggles to speak final words for his family, what he wants them to know. His voice trembles with tears. Mitch listens in silence, then raises his gun. With one merciful shot, he ends his friend's suffering.
Remember that?
He pockets Nate's dog tag and forces himself to walk away alone. Meanwhile, the survivors move across a narrow stone bridge toward the machine, its hellish glow bathing them in firelight. Below, swarms of mutants tear into screaming humans. Without warning, the rock beneath Maximilian collapses.
I've loosed the bomb! Take it!
He clings to the ledge, dangling. The others rush to pull him up, but Maximilian first thrusts the mission satchel toward Severian, ensuring the device is safe. With that final act of duty, he slips into the pit, swallowed by claws and teeth. Brother Samuel orders them onward, but conscience drives them down. They find Maximilian still fighting, his arm torn and mangled. Then tragedy strikes. De Barrera, firing wildly, suffers a weapon malfunction. His gun explodes in his hands, killing him instantly. The blast throws Maximilian, and mutants drag him away, sealing his fate. Severian watches in horror as Brother Samuel himself is impaled through the chest. The monk collapses lifeless, and in the chamber's echoing carnage, faith and unity shatter. Mitch arrives too late, finding only wreckage, de Barrera's body, and pieces of the Chronicle scattered on the ground. For the first time, Severian breaks her vow of silence, explaining what happened. The survivors were dragged into the machine. Mitch gathers the fragments of prophecy and demands she read them aloud. She shakes her head. She cannot read at all. When Mitch asks how she can believe in what she has never read, her answer is steady. Faith is not words on a page. Belief does not need proof. When she asks what he believes in, Mitch answers bluntly, the same as always. Mitch and Severian descend deeper and prepare a trap. At the abyss where captives are cast into the machine, they plant explosives. When mutants drag Duval and a battered Maximilian to the edge, the blast erupts, saving them from the fall. Together again, the survivors lower Severian and Duval into the depths by rope, while Mitch and Maximilian brace the line above. But more mutants burst from the cavern walls. Gravely wounded and near his end, Maximilian makes his choice. He salutes Mitch, pulls the pin, and vanishes in fire. The explosion rips through the mutants, and Mitch is hurled down, crashing onto a conveyor belt feeding into the machine itself. The nightmare swallows him. Blades slice into his body. Fire scorches his flesh. A needle plunges alien liquid into his veins, and his screams echo as the machine tries to reshape him into one of its own. At the last second, he breaks free, blasting its limb with a pistol. When Severian and Duval reach the machine's heart, they find Mitch staggering toward them. His skin is mottled, his eyes glint with something inhuman, half mutant, half man. Yet when he roars for them to throw the bomb, they see he is still human enough to fight. Mutants pour in, endless and savage. Duval and Severian fight like furies, blades flashing, while Mitch struggles to force the detonator into the machine. It won't fit. Desperate, he turns to the Chronicle, hunting for the missing truth. Suddenly, Brother Samuel returns, not the man they knew, but twisted into a mutant, his faith corrupted and his humanity gone. He lunges at Severian. She tries to reach the man he once was, but he stabs her, sending her tumbling toward the abyss. Duval, too, is overwhelmed, dragged down to his death.
Come!
One by one, the companions fall until only Mitch remains. Samuel and Mitch clash in a brutal struggle. In the chaos, Mitch sees something. The grooves of his sacred sword match the Chronicle's design. The truth was never a separate key. The sword itself is the answer. With a final surge, Mitch drives the blade through Samuel and into the machine's core, twisting until its gears scream and the earth shakes. The machine begins to collapse. For a fleeting moment, Samuel regains clarity. He urges Mitch to leap, to trust in faith, then throws himself into the abyss. For the first time, Mitch obeys faith. He jumps and lands in an underground lake as the cavern rips apart. Above, the machine tears free from its ancient cradle, erupting through the Earth's crust. Like a wounded beast, it rockets into the void of space. Silence returns after the storm. The prophecy is fulfilled. The machine is gone. The mutants are broken. Humanity, scarred and diminished, endures. And at the center of it all stands Mitch, the mercenary who claimed to believe in nothing, the man who swore he fought only for pay. In the end, he becomes humanity's unlikely savior. And so the tale closes, not through faith alone, nor destiny, but through loyalty, sacrifice, and the stubborn will to fight when all others fall.